I'm just laughing at somebody liking my rectangle pencil idea. You definitely don't want to do this CPC exam with a mechanical pencil for sure. You want the fattest kindergarten pencil you got. If you're in person and you're going to take it in person, you definitely do not want a fine pen point because you don't want to sit there and bubble all day long. My dad used to be AutoCAD designer for buildings and stuff, so he always had these mechanical drafting pencils around, and they have big, huge, fat tip ends. Sometimes they're rectangle. They can draw lines on the blueprints really easily with those, so definitely get you the fattest tip end, or when you're sharpening your pencil, do not make it very sharp, but make it blunt so that it is, if it is going to be round, it's fat round. I just don't have a pencil in front of me to show you, but you want the biggest, fattest pencil around so that you can bubble in the circles for sure. Super, super easy and fast. How's everybody doing today? Hey, Bells. How's it going? Hey, Cajun Check. If you're looking to pass a CPC coding exam, you're in the right spot. My book is falling apart from last year. Be sure and hot glue the tippy ends of your books for this year so that you don't end up with an unraveled mess like I have. I've done that to the 2022 book, but I'm not in it that much. I've just been typing it out. So this 401 book is just a hot mess because I've been in it forever, a whole year here. Well, I started out in TikTok land in April trying to share some ideas and help people out pass the CPC exam. Just got real tired of people suffering to pass this, and the paid information that you get online I felt was not helpful based off the amount of money you are spending, that we could do better with our information sharing for sure for money. One little tip, be sure and back up your backup to your backup to your backup of information. I just dropped a brick yesterday and yeah, it is not working. So now I got to go gather that information again and then put it on another brick. But luckily I have it on a backup so that my backup, if it did break, it's not on this. This is a new one I'm going to start using and try not to drop. But what I've been doing is picking these up by the cord because I leave them attached to my tablet or my laptop. And then I forget they're there and then let them drag along behind me as I'm dragging my laptop from room to room. And it dropped on my tile floor. And now it is just sad. I have an IT student in the house who was trying to work on it. But yeah, it's dead. So don't forget to back up your backups, which I have. It's just a pain in the butt to go get. But I can do it. It's all right. It's just not that it's that big of a pain. It's just one more thing to add to my little list of things to do. But at least I have it. I would be a sad girl if I didn't have it. Because that holds all of 2019, 20, 21 practice exams questions from AAPC. It also holds the CIC, COC, CPC, CPB courses, and the documentation specialist courses. So, I'll go gather all that mess up again. But anyway, we'll get it done. Get her done. And I need to quit being lazy and unhook my stuff before I start moving stuff around. I have stuff to do. All these people's little notes saying, okay, we're going to do this next week. We're going to do this next week. I got little sticky notes all over my desk. Don't forget, if you are looking for a job once you finish and get your CPC, one of my recommendations is the NCQA website. Look up HEDIS measures, learn and familiarize with those. Super easy. It's just pap smears, mammograms, taking your medications on time, those kind of things. And every October through March, the health plans like Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna HealthNet do a hiring, big batch of hiring for remote and in-person workers to go hunt for medical records that need that pap smear or mammogram found. A lot of times patients use their husband's insurance, or like TRICARE, or the front desk staff at the radiology department types the date of birth wrong, or they type the first name as the last name, or they ask them what their name is, and they say, or like TRICARE, or the front desk staff at the radiology department types the date of birth wrong, or they type the first name as the last name, or they ask them what their name is, and they say it's Sam when it's really Samantha. Who knows? But being a coder will definitely get your foot in the door, and if you do a good job during that time, then you can stay on board and move on up through the company. A lot of them are strictly remote jobs. They pay well, they got great benefits, and it's a cool place to get your foot in the door, for sure. And it's not hard work. You can do it, I promise. Some AKA words. Cleavage, if I haven't said it recently, is the same thing as incision. So if you see, I know my chicken scratch looks terrible. I'm glad I'm typing this year's notes up for 2022, but if you ever see a CPC question that says they cleaved something out of the way, then they made an incision and moved stuff out of the way. So I am working on a AKA list, but just for a fact, there you go. Let's see. I have learned some cool stuff today while I was tutoring. And I want to go over a practice exam question that, or two, that I found today when I was tutoring, because the person sent them to me and got the answer wrong, and they wanted an explanation. Well, at the time, it's like, ooh, I've never used that code before. I've never had to use that code. I don't know what the explanation is, but I can tell you that that's the answer, and here we go. Well, I've done some more research and figured out why the answer is why it is, and I think it's really kind of cool. I know there's a lot of things that do happen in medicine that we just don't have a number for to describe what the test is. Tests are becoming more and more, they're growing faster than our CPT code can keep up with. And since we only update this once a year, and it takes a long time, you've got to have committees who decide and vote on CPT codes. And it's a whole bureaucracy. I don't know if anybody's bought a scale recently, but I did. I bought a scale, upgraded my old one that was like you step on and the wheel just kind of turns to a number and it shakes as you shake, I bought a digital one that hooks up to my cell phone. It's really fancy. Just $15 off Amazon though. Wasn't a lot of money, but it came with more features than I ever thought of. It was really crazy because you step on it and it's got these little metal bars right underneath your feet, and you step on it, and that sucker will tell you how much water you have in your system, how much bone mass, like your bone weight, if they carved it off all your skin, how much bone is the weight of you, how much fat, how much muscle is just all muscle, how much does that weigh. It'll tell you whether you're dehydrated. It's really kind of crazy how many things it does. It'll track and trend and all kinds of stuff. I got all my kids on it now, and we have fun seeing who's all in the green and who's all in the red, and laugh about some of the results. And you can tell that one child loves to drink water all day long and he guzzles it, and the other one refuses to eat and drink. And then you can tell which one is dehydrated and which one isn't. And the proof's right there in the little numbers. So it's kind of interesting. That's what we ran into in one of these radiology. I'm going to bring it up. How's everybody doing today, too, by the way? I know everybody's getting ready for the holidays, and we've got a lot of people that are testing now. We had, oh my gosh, let me show y'all. We had somebody pass, but I want to show you the score this person got. Lord. I've gotten some 80s and 90s before on some people, but, well, 80s, 70s, 80s. But, yeah, look at that one. Got a 90% on her exam out of Florida. Really wonderful, really excellent exam. I mean, that's really great score. And she said my videos and TikToks are what helped her, my notes, just invaluable. She also ended up, like my Jess girl, who ended up with 6 sections with straight 100s. I'm sure AAPC took a double take and made sure they scanned that card one more time to make sure, but just fantastic scores. Lab and Path, 90%. Really? Anesthesia and anatomy were the only 2 things that were lacking. And if maybe she'd gotten to me, she didn't find me till like right before she took her exam, so she didn't have a lot of time to get everything from me. But if she'd have seen some of the lives where we've shared all the anatomy words recently, that would have definitely brought up that score. Boy, I'm going to have AAPC come after me because people are having too easy of a time taking their exam, for sure. I hope that happens one of these days. So this particular question was kind of interesting. I don't have all the answers that were on the exam question, and this is just from a practice exam from AAPC. But what I do have is that this is a DEXA body composition study. And so we have a couple of codes right here. This 77080, and then we've got a 76499. When you look up that 76499, which they're saying is the answer, 76499. You get this weird unlisted radiology procedure. That's so unhelpful. How do we know that a DEXA body composition study, and that's simply what the question states, is going to be this? One thing I can tell you right away is you wouldn't use 2 CPT codes in the same section under radiology like that without maybe a modifier, like modifier 59. And it would be unusual that you would use this code and that code, because this code, the 81, is not a plus symbol. So 77081, if we went to that one, just to show you why I know it's not correct, is because these two are DEXAs, right? But you wouldn't add them together because that's not an add-on code, right? We don't have that plus symbol. If you are adding on a code, because this code contains this, right? But then this code contains that and this together. So you definitely wouldn't do that. You would only do that if you had a plus symbol in front of the code to add to the original parent code or something. But our only other option was this unlisted, and that's because, like my little scale, body composition means that they are doing the fat, the muscle, the bone, and the water amounts. Each different reading is getting an extra, its own little reading here. So in your notes, be sure and go to 76499. Go on and write DEXA Body Composition Study over here, and then underneath it write fat, muscle, bone, and water. What I had from COC or some other people that I got the notes from was that this was an x-ray. And obviously that's not correct when the correct answer for this AAPC question says that this can also be a DEXA. So we can get rid of this particular thing that we got from the cave. And we can write this as an example of what this code could be utilized for is definitely like this. So I hope this helps. Let me check chat real quick and see what's going on there because I've been rattling off. Let's see. I said hi to Bells. Hey, Mono. Hello. Hello. Or Momo. Maybe it's Momo. I'm thinking mono. I'm all in the medical terminology thing going here, but that's Momo. Love the name. Best online school for this? Don't take an online school, Julie. If you're 71 date of birth like me, then you are right at yeah, I'm a 71 too. So don't take a course. Just get the study guide from AAPC. Even if you get a previous year, it's cool. It doesn't matter. Get a study guide from AAPC for CPC. This study guide is just chock full of everything you need to know for the exam. Watch my lives, my repeats on YouTube that I have. So if YouTube or if TikTok records my lives here, I repost them on my YouTube little thingy at Coding by Jen. Sorry about my camera. It does not like to focus. I need to get me one of those Apple things, I guess. But this is an Android. Coding by Jen at YouTube shows all my old lives. I'll teach you how to pass this exam. You don't need to learn a career's worth of coding to pass this exam. And plus, a course won't help you when you get a job. Every job codes differently based off contracts with their vendors like labs and pharmacies and other things. You will learn on the job. I really highly recommend not taking a course. I've only met one person who is happy and satisfied with their course. Everybody else has been overworked with busy work and unhelpful, and even the education with a live teacher wasn't very beneficial. But you research and do as you please. I know you can do it without it. Just get the study guide, buy your 2 exam tries, take the first one in person, and then do the second one online. Is the best route. I think is awesome to do. And you can split up your online exam into 2 days. Do half one day and half the other day, which you can't do in person. If you need a second time to take it, and do a self-study. I can definitely get you to where you can pass the exam. You can get some practice exam questions from Quizlets or from AAPC, but really, unless you have money to toss at things, save your $3,000, and you'll need it for the membership anyway, and your books, your CPT book, your ICD10, but save your money. Don't do a course. You're welcome, MASH. I'm not the best. I'm just trying to be helpful, for sure. Hey, Lena. Hey, Shell. Test is Saturday. Shell is so dedicated, y'all. Let me tell you, this girl's going to pass. She is so dedicated. I need that to happen to me. Did she have previous coding experience? Ooh, I done forgot what I was talking about, Shell. I know I didn't have previous coding experience when I took the exam, and I self-studied. I didn't take a course. All I did was audit the exam. I went in right away, took the exam in person, highlighted all the codes that were used on the exam as part of the answer, went home and audited it, and then took this test online for real, wanting to pass, and passed right away. Do you record live videos? I am doing my best to record these live videos. And I have my old ones posted on YouTube when they did record. There was about a month in November that they did not record. It was pretty devastating, but they've started recording again. I can't control what TikTok records or not, but they were doing some major updates then. I do have a website, and I was doing some tutoring. There's my kitty cat. Look, my Pinky. She has a rat on her back. She's so funny. But anyway, I was sharing those pictures today. We have, on my website, we have, if you want to start prepping your CPT book, I have screenshots of what it looks like there. There's 2 programs there, 1 through 3 program, and then a 4th program, which is the 2nd program. That's confusing. I know I'll fix it one of these days, but it's just screenshots and words to tell you what to do with your CPT book and how to prep it for the CPC exam. I've taken down my tutoring for the year because I'm still catching up with a lot of scheduling conflicts, either I or the other person, and it's just a daily thing that everybody or me or them or whoever, whatever happens, life happens, we need to reschedule, and I'm constantly shuffling people, so when I get caught up with everybody, I will open it back up, but Christmas is, just a week away too, so working on that. The tutoring is just $26, and we usually spend an hour and a half going over the sections that you need. We have a messenger group, so come find me at Jen Brewer. If you want to join our messenger group, we're in there every day. We're practicing questions and answering everybody and sharing info for sure. It's just come find me on Messenger at Jen Brewer, and I can add you to our Messenger group. There is nothing more beneficial than that group right there, too, because everybody who takes their exam rushes in and says, hey, this vocabulary word was on there, or this question was on here. How do I answer it? Did I answer it right? We're learning and gathering information as we go of what sort of things might be on the exam, what vocabulary could be on it. Just hearsay, and even just having a direction to go in of what is on the exam is super helpful. If you know that it's going to be radiology and they're doing mammograms, then you can focus your attention right there on mammograms. It's wonderful to make sure you back up your material and make sure you have the best current info you've got. If we know of an anatomy term, like a helix, where's that bone? We share it, and then we've been gathering that info. Also, if you need a copy of my CPT book or my ICD10 Guidelines, which take each guideline, does a screenshot of what it looks like in the ICD10 book, and then gives you coding examples of how to code it in sequence, those are all on Etsy if you need those. There's a coupon in the link in the bio right here if you need it. If you need a bigger coupon, let me know, but that will end up taking 30% off of everything that you get there. But we also, if anything is given on this TikTok, as far as whatever y'all are doing with the hearts and the whatnotsies, those are collected, and TikTok is so loud. I will add that to a fund that we are collecting to give out free sections of my notes. So far, we have 3,200 diamonds, which equals up to $16. I haven't withdrawn anything yet, but if we get up to like $40 or $50, we'll end up giving away some sections that somebody in need needs for sure. Thanks, Coupon Cutie. You're always wonderful. Thank you, Bells. But that is how we contribute to each other, along with giving out information that you find when you do take your exam. If you recognize one term, one question, one sort of vocabulary word that you remember was on your exam, and you share with me that information, I pass it along during my lives, then you might make the difference between somebody failing and passing. A lot of people are getting right there at that 69, 68 grade level, but if they'd have known one more vocabulary word, that would have made a difference. They could have already started their career. It'll change their life for the better, which will change their community and eventually, change us all. So that's what I want to see for everybody. I love this. This is pretty neat. This body composition for the 6499. I love learning new things, so as y'all find examples or questions during your own courses, if you are taking any, don't be afraid to share them with me, and I'll be happy to find out the reason why the answer is what it is, and I can point out the reason that AAPC is also asking that question. A lot of times they're wanting you to know certain guidelines in certain areas for those things too, so super helpful there. Our other one was an oncology treatment, I think. 77427. Thank you. Sit down. 774. And I do have some ICD10s to go over with y'all as soon as I get done with this. 77427. I'm just really slow at 427. I found out this one too. So 77427. So if my student is in here in the chat, I can tell you why. This is why the answer is why it is. Okay. So her question for this answer said that the patient had radiation treatment 2 times a day times 3 days. How many treatments does that equal up to? It equals up to 6, right? Hold on one second. Why? Oh, Lord, had to see what my children were up to because that was some weird new noises. Look, I got more pins in today, too. Woo. Gotta start marking my books. Okay, so her question said that a patient receives complex radiation oncology treatment 2 times a day for 3 days. Whoops. What radiological codes are appropriate for this series of clinical management? She had picked the 2-7 with the 3-1. Now we know we can't combine those because there was no modifier added onto it and there was no plus sign in the front of this. This one does say that it's for 1 to 2 fractions only. This one says it's for up to 5 treatments. What do you do when your patient has 6? Well, you don't get paid for that 6. And you don't get paid for the 7th either if there's just 7. According to the guideline in radiology, it says if a patient receives 2 times in 1 day and it is considered 2 fractions, right? This patient had 6 fractions of radiology. So the 427 code indicates it's for 5. So according to the Radiology Treatment Management Guidelines, when a patient has 1 or 2 fractions left at the end of a course of treatment, it is not separately billable. So you can't bill leftover ones. The code for 431 is used when the entire course of treatment is to only be 1 to 2. That doesn't mean that this is just for 1 to 2 that might be left over from something else. This means that the entire treatment is going to be 1 to 2 treatments, and that's it. So there is some new radiology help right there. Let me check on chat. I've got 23 messages. Sorry, guys. Do you have any tips on CRC? As far as AAPC questions go and what they're looking for answers, yes, I can always help out with any of their certification exams. Absolutely. You're welcome, Dreamin'. Happy to help. Can I explain transitional care management? Oof. As an auditor, my passion is auditing, and also my new passion is trying to get people to pass their certification exam. Now, being a coder or explaining all of this in every single situation takes a lifetime to go through and learn and produce material for. I will do my best, for sure, to help out with any questions you do have. It's just a lot. It really is a lot to cover, and a lot of, I could take a lifetime on building material for all of this. I do not see a lot of transitional care in the AAPC CPC exam, or if you have questions or examples from AAPC that were practice exam questions for you about this, I can definitely take a look at those and tell you why the answer is what it is and where they're trying to show you what guideline to make sure you know what's going on. I'll do my best. Okay. Oh, is mom of 00002? Oh, it's mom instead of Momo. I kind of like Momo better, though, but that's okay, Mom. Yeah, I can't read for crap. That's okay. Study for your exam now. Yeah. Oh, good job, Dreamin'. I take my exam on the 26th. Good luck, Apple. The best of luck, for sure. Dreamin', I took my CPC twice. She helped me pass on the third time. She's amazing. Aw. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And look at you. You got your CPC initials at the end of your name here now. Miss Howard, look at you. Love it. Can't wait for everybody to be in that perfect career that they've been looking for. Sarah, I take mine next Wednesday, the 22nd. So nervous. Don't be nervous. What will be, you know. You just need to negate all their propaganda they have in those questions. Do not read the questions. Do not read the questions. Do not read the questions. Start with the exam answers. Look for irregularities in the numbers, things that don't go together. Don't be coding two CPT codes together without modifiers, especially in the same section. Without it being ×2 or being a plus symbol. There's a lot of things you can eliminate answers to where you're left with the only right answer and you ended up never even looking at the question. I do that so many times in tutoring that the tutee or the mentee are like, wow, you know, that's crazy. And that happens every day. Just keep going, keep going. Look at these codes. Pay attention to them. You know more than you think you know. I need study guides for my CPCS exam. Her 90% passing. I know. That girl, who just passed, she did amazing. She did really well. And she wrote me a very nice letter on Messenger and sent me her scores and said I was a queen. So that was great. That was awesome. Awesome to see. Awesome to get that feedback. To take the time. I know life goes on, and I know a lot of you will be coming in here, and I get super attached to y'all, and then I know when you pass, you're going to go on about your ways, and live your life as a coder, but I'm always here if you need help finding a job or something. What is the most affordable site to purchase books from? Well, you can keep searching the AAPC Facebook group. A lot of people will buy the books and then go, oh crap, I'm too old for this, or I'm not going to learn this, or life happens. They win the lotto. I don't know. And they give them away, or they sell them cheap. Macquarie is a good site. eBay, Amazon. I think, what was that site? There's a coding site that has them on sale right now. Y'all help me out with the name. I just do Google searches for sure. You can use your 2021 books for the entire year of 2022. You can add in the changes that happen manually by writing them in. I did that on my 2021 books. I have 2020 codes in here because the exam didn't change until probably April. So you can manually write in the changes. You can get an old book, previous years, a whole lot cheaper than this year's. You can go to the library and see if anybody's turned any in or donated any. You can go to the community colleges in town and see if anybody has left any behind, any of their coding classes that anybody they want to get rid of. There's lots of things that you can do, but so I just wrote in some codes that have been deleted because I still needed them, and this is my 2021 book. There's lots of options. Option Care, Optum, there we go. Optum has them on sale right now, too, I think. I hope you will be available in January. Absolutely, Bells. I'll be available in January. I'll get my tutoring back up again. It's just I got crazy recently. For sure. Hello, Coupon Cutie. She keeps waving. We got roses and flowers and a projector and lollipops. Oh, that's fun. B-Ran, is it okay to get your study guide for 2021? Oh, yeah. You could even get your study guide from 2019. That thing hadn't changed. Get the cheapest one you can find, used off of any site, any of them. Get just make sure it's the AAPC study guide, like I was showing you. And I don't care if it's a 2019 like this one. It's still current information. You're okay. Get an old used one. Absolutely. You are perfectly fine with that older one. It's going to have way more information in there than you can even shake a stick at. That's all right. That's exactly what you need, and it's more informative than their course is any day of the week. What does PC mean on the code? Having a brain lapse. Professional component. Remember, that's some of the stuff that the Batcave people were telling. It's unhelpful. It really is. It's just I bought information and took down some of the stuff that other people suggest, and but that's professional component. That's okay. And then we've got technical component down here that they could get if you're using their machine. Remember, TC is for the facility to get credit for their machines. Professional component like modifier 26 would be for the doctor to provide analysis report of that kind of stuff. But that's what those means. Thank you. I am constantly learning something new every day, but you have been a godsend. Aw, thanks, Friendsco. Friendsco 09. I hope you're part of our chat group too, because let me tell you, that thing is super helpful too. Let me tell you, that is one of the best things I ever set up. I do it now that you said it. Momo Mama, Mama of two. Please listen to Jen. She's the best. Ah, that's Miss Signed Marie. She's awesome. Thank you. You're amazing to help us all. Oh, happy to help, Miss Mermaid. Happy to help. I bought my last books on Amazon and they were counterfeit and had to send them back. No way. Light printing, missing codes. Be careful. Great info shell. I always get mine from AAPC, and I do it when I get my tax return every year. Thank God I got kids, but they're 12 and 13 now. I won't get very much credit for them very much longer, but when I get my tax return every year in April, I just buy them off of AAPC website. That way I have certified real books that I can make my notes off of for you guys. And I just use that as part of my tax return, is just going towards that fee every year. You're welcome. Is AAPC the best place to purchase tests? For now it is, until I make you up some tests that won't be $2 a question. Right now AAPC is $400 for 150 questions. It's super expensive. Quizlets has exams. Our chat group has exams, shareable in them, hint, hint, that you can download. Yes, AAPC, you definitely want to have a hint as to what they're looking for. And that's all they're going to give you. So their questions are going to be like, what is PHI? A, B, C, or D. But your test question will be harder because it'll say which of these is an example of PHI. And they'll give you a vague list of things that seem normal, but it does give you a hint as to what they are. But their questions are super expensive. They really are. And then when you don't pass their practice exam questions, then they're going to want to sell you more questions. Well, we'll give you 10 more questions for $20 in E&M section so you can get better at that. So it's just a constant money thing. I'm trying to make up 100 questions per section, so for anatomy, 100 questions. E&M will be 100 questions. And that way I can sell them just like $40 a section, and it'll be a whole lot cheaper than that. But I'm way down the road from that because I have got to finish my 2022 CPT code guidebook notes, and that's taking precedent right now to get all those done. I have the guidelines done and I have E&M done. I still don't have anesthesia done, and that's one of the smallest sections in the book. Hold on. Travis, you're still making the same noise. What's going on? I just finished reading bracelet. All the little clippy things. This came in my head as I thought. You're proud of yourself, huh? Yeah. All right. Making all that racket. Stressing me out. Okay. Just have to yell at my kids from time to time. Okay. I have got. Why was I here? I did. I taught y'all this. So, we know this radiology thing today. I'm so glad I learned those two things today. That was super fun. We're going to do the practice of elimination and work on ICD-10 codes. I was asked about doing these today, and I normally don't do very many because you only have 10 questions on your CPC exam for ICD-10. 90 to 100 of your questions are in this CPT book, and it's so critical that you get these done and get these right. I don't want y'all spending so much time on ICD-10 that you forget about your CPT book. Your time can be better served fixing your CPT book than worrying about ICD-10. Because you only have 10 questions. All the questions are weighted the same, but I know there's a need and a want to learn this stuff too. I want to make sure y'all know your guidelines. I know this is an awful mess. I do have the guidelines typed, which are much better version than looking at this stuff. I wanted to go over your guidelines because one of our questions tonight definitely has this, and if anybody's ever had a course in ICD-10, you probably were not taught this. The very beginning of your guidelines starts with an explanation of the tabular list, and I've been helping some people with their homework of all things from these medical courses, and some of even the basic things people may not have even known or heard of, and they're already on chapter like 20, and they didn't know that there are multiple tabular lists. So your first tabular list is alphabetical. Your second one is your neoplasms. A lot of you will know that. But you have another one back here, which is your external cause tabular list. None of it is sectioned off or looks any different or listed anything different, but be sure you know there's an external cause tabular list in the front of your book that is alphabetical, but it's a different tabular list, and you need to be able to find this tabular list if you're in a course and you've got all that crazy busy work and they're making you code all these million codes every week about, a dog biting you, or you were, dropped some dumbbells on you or something. You need to be able to find this external cause tabular list. Oh my goodness. Lord. All right. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is the very beginning of your tabular list. There's this sentence at the very top that says the vertical yellow line appears in the second and fourth indentation throughout the index. There's this yellow code line that follows down. You can't really see it very well on my camera, I don't think, but in your books you know there's a yellow line. Well, what that has to do with is the very first code or guideline in the front of your guidelines. After you get done with what is a tabular list, what is the seventh character, what is excludes, what is includes, what is and, or, all those definitions, the very first real guideline on how to code anything is acute and chronic. This guideline has two sentences, and it says, if the same condition is described as both acute and chronic, and a separate sub-entry exists in the alphabetical index at the same indentation level, code both. So what that means is, what a lot of people don't get taught is, if you go to the one I know for sure is thyroiditis, T-H-Y, thyroiditis, and you follow this yellow line. There's two of them. You see how acute is on that yellow line, and then you come down and chronic is on that yellow line, the indentions. Because they're on the same indentation line, there's a lot of diagnoses where acute and chronic won't be. Chronic would be here and acute would be here. That won't be helpful, but thyroiditis happens to be one. You can code that person with acute and chronic at the same time. And to know that you can do that is in the front of your book in the index, by the way. It's the only way you'll know is if it's on the yellow line together like that. They could be indented on the second one, that's fine, but they're indented on the first one. A lot of patients do have a chronic disease that they're treated normally, but when they have an acute flare-up, they do have to come in and be treated for, because the acute stage is more problematic than the chronic stage. They have to get the flare-up to go down, so they do have to come in. So anyway, that's one little thing about the ICD-10s that most people are not taught, and you will be a superstar in the real life world when you go coding, and you're not getting as many denials back as Sally Sue over here because she's just coding willy-nilly, and then you're making sure things are lining up in the index, and you'll be able to take over some jobs pretty soon. Yeah, somebody else has exams. Yeah, good grief. I haven't looked at the UDEMY Academy has exams. I know there's lots of people that have exams here and there, but just be careful wherever you get your data. Some of it is very old. Some of it is Googleable. You can Google practice exams. I know 2013, 16s are all online, free. You can just look for the PDFs. They're there. But they do have old data, but there's still a pattern. You'll see a pattern of what AAPC chooses as questions and answers. If you look at the exam or the questions from their point of view as what are they asking, what guideline are they worried about. So another thing that I do with my ICD-10s is if you notice those external causes, I wrote them at the top of my index for external causes. I wrote the order up here. I also go through and highlight, draw a blue line, on the codes that are for intent. The ones for status are in green. There's some more intent, but I also do that in the back. If you go to chapter 19 and 20, not 21, but 19 and 20, you will see that I put that header on the front of these. They're never first for chapter 20. 19 can be, but chapter 20 is never first. And then I put the statuses in order here because sometimes in your CPC exam, you might get the activity and the place and the cause, like they got a bloody nose at home playing baseball. You just need to know which order to code them in. AAPC will have them all scrambled up. They'll put the baseball code first, or they'll put the baseball code before the place, and then home will be the last code. You need to make sure that you know that you code home first before you code baseball. So move your guidelines to the codes is one helpful trick for sure. And be sure you know guidelines like if a doctor prescribes a medicine and they have a side effect to it, what do you code first? What if they take a medication themselves and they hurt themselves? What do you code first? The doctors don't have to code the medicine they gave them first. That comes second. The doctors will do the nature of the side effect, nausea, vomiting, cardiac arrest, whatever happened to them when they took the medicine goes first. Then the medication goes second. If you are alcohol poisoning, mushroom poisoning, whatever you did to yourself, the medicine or whatever is done first, and then the manifestations afterwards. Knowing those kind of guidelines will be super helpful along with your cancer ones. Be sure you know things like if they're being treated for cancer and they're getting chemotherapy, radiation, or immunotherapy, then C51 is coded first. If they're being seen for a secondary malignancy, then you can code sometimes the malignancy, the secondary one first, and then the primary malignancy is second. If their anemia is due to the malignancy, you code the malignancy first and then the anemia. If they're there for, and the anemia is caused by the chemo or immunotherapy, you code anemia first and then the neoplasm and then this T code. If radiation gave them anemia, you code the anemia first, the neoplasm second, and then the Y code next. I have these guidelines typed so you don't have to read my handwriting. available on the Etsy shop if y'all need them. But if you don't, do some screenshots and get these moved to the codes that they're affected. Go to that Y code, write this out. Go to anemia and write these scenarios out next to the codes. Super helpful because they do change. These two get a T code, this one gets a Y code. If they're dehydrated, it's different than anemia because of their malignancy. If their malignancy causes dehydration, you do it differently. You code the dehydration first and then the malignancy. So go to dehydration, write this example down beside those diagnosis codes. And then at the top of all your neoplasms and your index, you could write some little cheat sheets like this up at the top. All this helps. So on acute, acute will go first because that's why they're being seen. They may have a chronic disease, but they're actually physically being seen because they're having an acute flare-up. Acute will always go first. Yep, on that one. I have a follow-up question on that will explain some more of it, so that's why I didn't answer it fully yet. But let me get this lappy-toppy over here, and I've got some crazy stuff going on right there for some reason. Okay. We are going to do the process of elimination. Sorry about my creaky thing. And work on these codes. Get my drawing tool out. So you notice I have a bunch of R's. Nothing in a whole lot of normalcy other than I need to go, I know probably I'm going to have a 0.1 or a 0.2 or a point whatever. I'm probably not going to use A. You don't normally just use 3 digits when you're diagnosing someone. You know you're going to have that 4th or 5th digit. Logically, I could get rid of A. The rest I'm going to have to go look up. So let's go to R11 and see what's going on there real quick. I always like to go to the codes first, look at the codes before I try to look at the question to see what they're asking me. I like to figure out what's going on first. And I'm really slow at finding codes, so y'all have to bear with me. I know y'all are in these all day long and a lot faster than me. R11, right here, nausea and vomiting. You need to make sure that you pay attention to your excludes. We need to make sure that we do not use these codes for anything like this, but all of our answers are all just around the R11s. There are R11O, R1114, R11-2. So we don't really have that to worry about. But we've got R, that's just nausea. 212, is it the 212? It's R1114. Is just vomiting. Bilious, really, bilious vomiting. And then the R2 down here is nausea with vomiting. You need to know about, you've got a guideline with nausea and vomiting because it's a combination code. When you have a combination code, most people, if they're nauseous, they're vomiting. It's just the way it happens. I can get nauseous without vomiting. My son cannot. If he's nauseous, he's going for it. There's just no getting around it. He's going to vomit. So we have to watch out for that one. So we're going to look up here at our diagnoses or our question real quick. And I'm just going to read from the last word backwards. And I am going to see right here it is nauseous and vomiting. Diagnosed nauseous and vomiting. That's all I'm going to look at for that code. And I know since I have a combo code for nausea and vomiting that B is my answer, and I'm going to move on. You don't code them separately when you do have a combo code. The instructions are to code them both together when you have a combination code, and it can be applied. So we definitely won't be doing anything that is singular. So B will be our answer, and we'll move on. And I'll let y'all do the next one. Does that make sense? R is yellow. R12, yes, good, perfect. Sanchez, perfect, perfect, perfect. Just want to make sure everybody knows that guideline, that when you have a combination code, use it for sure. Okay, we're not going to read that answer yet, or the question. Let's try to go straight for just the answers right there. Okay, and this one, we're in the ends. The N 40.0 or the 40.1. So we need to go to those two codes first just to see what's going on with those. So N, so are we in the kidneys? Something going on there? I don't know. I know we've got one code in the ends. LMN N40. So the point O is benign prostate hyperplasia, and then the 40.1 is benign prostatic hyperplasia. One's without and one's with a UT symptoms, and this one has without. So those are our key differences here, is with the with and the without, for sure. I like how the ICD-10, they green word everything that is different from one diagnosis to the other. I like that. I wish CPT would do that. So we wouldn't have to go through it and highlight the differences because they've already got them color-coded for us. Love it. So let's see. On the 40.1, you need to be careful with this one. It's not like the 40.0. So if this patient does have UTI issues with it, then we have to use an additional code. So as we look at this question, if they don't have any UTI symptoms, then we just code that code and we're happy. But if they do have urinary issues, then we have to code something else here. They will end up with a second code. And if we look at our answers, that R33.8, is it even there? Let's see. I'm sorry about my thing. R33.8 is here for urinary retention. So we would use those together. Anytime you see the word use additional, it is super helpful. And also, it is a clear indication that AAPC wants to make sure that you understand what this means. They're clearly picking one without it, and then they're picking one with it. They want to make sure you understand the significance of use additional. So we'll look up here at our test question, and it does say with urinary retention. So we are definitely going to pick two codes. We already know because we looked at those codes, we're definitely going to be the 0.1 with the urinary retention. We would not use the 40 with the urinary retention because it is not a use, and plus it's without urinary symptoms. You wouldn't give them urinary retention when it says without right there. So most definitely D is our answer, and we can move on. Is that helpful? Does that make sense? I hope you can't get rid of or neglect to understand the use additional. Be sure and know that if you see anything in red, that means that AAPC wants to definitely know that you understand the instructions there. Okay, good. All right. Let's scoot you down to this one. So let's see, we've got D's and R's. D's and R's. So with both of them, I would run to go see what the difference is between these. The D70 and then the R50. What's the difference? So D70. Why are my babies so quiet? What are they doing now? I can't even hear it. Are you okay? What's Jamesy doing? Okay. D74 is a sickle something neutropenia something or another. And then our R50 is what? A, B, C, D, E, F. I know I've seen some people write their alphabet on a ruler and take it with them so that they don't have to have a brain fart during the middle of their exam. And whatever helps, absolutely use. R50.81. R50.81 has fever presenting with conditions classified elsewhere. It also says you have to code something else first if you're going to use this code. So, and there's that D70, right? We're at D70, right? So we definitely need to code D70 first. This will be the second code. Isn't that interesting? You know how sometimes they tell you don't use symptoms, right? We're not supposed to code fever and cough and things like that when you give somebody a diagnosis of upper respiratory infection or something. But this particular R5081, which is in all the answers, by the way, if I know y'all can't see both, but R5081 is in all the answers except for A. It's the same code. It doesn't change. It just changes position, right? So I know that AAPC's hinting at me that something's going on. And what they want me to understand and what they want to know is, do I know what this symbol means? So this symbol means that if I'm going to code them with this diagnosis, I have to code them with something else ahead of it, because that is a symptom that comes along with this. So very cool. Without even looking at the question, I don't have to look at the question. I know what AAPC is wanting from me. They want me to code. Which one? Shell, I found them in my dad's dresser drawers. So, yeah. I believe they ordered them from Staples or something like that back in the day. He's been gone 8 years, hon, so they're in a drawer in my house. That's where I found them. If I had time, I'd ship it to you, girl. Yes, B guys, and y'all didn't even have to look at my question. All you did was evaluate the codes. Okay, here's your question if y'all want to look at it. But save yourself the brain stress, reading all these words and all this. No, save yourself the brain power, brain fatigue. By the time you read 100 scenarios, you're not going to be able to finish the last 50 questions because your brain is mush. As much as you can do, look at these codes, evaluate them. What there's a reason why AAPC is picking them. Whether it's in your CPT book or your diagnosis book, there's a reason, and it's usually tied to a guideline or a little symbol or a parenthetical note. There's some reason why they're picking them, and this one is a clear case of they want to make sure you understand what code first means. Thanks, Mom. All right, let's go to our next one. These are our M codes. Our M codes, I know, are like torn meniscus, things like that happen here. We've got the same codes repeated. We've got the M25-8s and the M25-5s. So let's go see what's going on with these codes. M25-5 is... I always like to just pick the first one in the sequence that I could find, and then I go forward through the book in correct reading book English order, I guess you'd say, just to figure out what's going on. So M25551 is my first one. M25, the pink codes, just so you know, those are MIP codes. They're tied to a payment system, which if you're looking for like HEDIS guidelines, things I want you to go look for a job for, if the doctor codes these codes, there could be a HEDIS measure tied to it that says, okay, if they do this, then they need to make sure that they've done something else, a test with it, or no antibiotics with it, or something. I don't know what the guideline is for these M's, but that they didn't give them too much casting material, or it's X-ray. It's probably X-ray. They can't have too much X-rays because you're shooting people with too much radiation for some reason. They don't like it. So that's all the pink codes mean, by the way. 25551. Travis, are you watching something I would not be happy with? I bet he is because he's too quiet. 2551 is right hip pain, and then the 52 is left hip pain. So I don't know if y'all know this. There's a guideline associated with this, or how come they don't have a bilateral one, right? If you've got bilateral hip pain, why isn't there a code for that? Well, there will be when code ICD-11 is coming about, which should be pretty soon because the World Health Organization has adopted ICD-11, and we're going to get a whole bunch more codes, a lot of codes, and our codes are going to change from 7 digits to over 18 or somewhere around in there. It's going to be very big codes. A lot of people are going to get out of coding because they don't want to learn something new, but I doubled my income when I learned ICD-10 versus ICD-9, just because a lot of people didn't want to learn it. So one hint there. Learn all you can about ICD-11. It's coming fast. When it does, if you already know something about it or act like you do, you can double your income, because I did. Anyway, there is a guideline. If there is no right and left, you have to code. Or if there is no bilateral, you do have to code both codes. So we need to figure out what's going on here. We have bilateral hip pain. So if you know your guideline with this, you will not pick the unspecified. You should not do that. Don't pick unspecified. If they have the right and left hip pain, then you diagnose them with right and left hip pain, both, and you do not pick unspecified if they have it in both. So super simple right there. I ended up picking the right code to start with, which happens to be just the lowest numerical number, I was going to keep on going up in the numerical sequence if it wasn't the right answer. But that does happen to be the right answer is D, and I do need to code both codes for sure. And you need to know that guideline for sure during your CPC exam. If they're coding right and left, do not pick unspecified. Go on and pick both and write them both down. Pick the answer with both of them in there. So if there is no code choice for bilateral, do them both. Here is a lovely guideline question that I'll let y'all read from beginning to end. These type of questions y'all will definitely need to save more time for, because you do have to actually read the question and then read the answers to figure out the right answer on these. This is my one about the acute and chronic, so if y'all see this question, you will know it right away now. In referencing ICD10 Guideline 1B8, when a patient presents with acute exacerbation of a chronic condition and no single code captures both the chronic and acute nature of the illness, how are you supposed to code these in sequence? So your answer is, Sally says B. Sarah says B. Sorry. She's already been reading ahead of everybody. Now that I've taught y'all, hey Timber. Mom says B too. Sanchez, B. Good job, good job. Y'all know it now, right? We're going to code the acute condition first, followed by the chronic, as long as they're on that yellow indented line together, right? Okay, let's go down again. This one. What do we know about these codes? I don't know much about K, maybe kidneys, I don't know. Don't know much about K codes, but I do know about Z codes. Z codes are usually history of or screening. The patient needs a screening of something, or they're here for a well physical or something. So just knowing, somebody already knows, Shawnee knows that code. She must be billing all the time. So we'll go sneak peek our question just from the bottom up. Don't read it. We do have a colonoscopy and we are doing screening, so we know our Z code is going to go first. So the other thing we need to find out is, why is this K here? So looking at the question here, they did remove a polyp, and since they did remove a polyp, he's got to have a diagnosis for this also, for the polyp. So you get to code that one also, just knowing that. And even if you went and looked up the K one, you would realize that it is a polyp. You have time for that with this question. You could look it up, and that's just a polyp found, and you would know right away that B is your answer. So don't forget about those polyps when you're doing a screening. If they do remove one, you can code for that polyp. Very easy. Easy one indeed. Ooh, we got a C one here. Our cancers, right? We know, if you've been with me long enough to know that I've drilled what Z51 is for. What's that for, guys? What do we use it for? I showed you today on the guidelines, too. That one is for radiation, chemotherapy, those kind of things. Yep, if they are here for chemotherapy, radiation, immunotherapy, then we code that first. So if I see any Z51s, I would sneak a peek up here at the question and make sure, yep, they are being seen for chemotherapy. So I know right away I can get rid of A and B because they're not going to be coded correctly. I know it's going to be a difference between these. There's something going on with these, and we want to make sure we're coding them right. So we can go the first one in the sequence, which is C50. See what's going on with that one. Whoops, went too far. Too far. A, B, C. Where is C50? C50. C50. 002 or 029. We've got 229. Is it the 22? No, 029. 029 over here. Malignancy of the areola of a male, right here. We have that one. And looking back at our question, we do see that it's Mets, so it did metastasize of the liver secondary to the right areola. So we know, because we looked up one code, which one goes first, right? The areola does not go first because it's the Mets, right? So we know, without having to look up the other one, that this is the liver cancer. It goes first, then the Mets goes here. Or is it the liver that's secondary to the liver secondary to the, no, it's the liver that's first. The wording on all these things get me all confused sometimes. But the liver is the primary. Yeah, you could have done it without reading the story. Absolutely. Liver does go first. D is our answer for sure. And that's it. That's all I had prepped here today. I have some more we can do if y'all are in the mood for anything other than diagnosis codes. I can bring up, let's see, what time is it? Oh yeah, I can do some more. Let me bring up this one. All right, we're going to switch over to CPT, okay? That book down, get out this CPT. Oh, it's confusing. Well, just knowing that the patient was there for chemotherapy gets you down to the Z51 code right away. That's just something I'm working on. Don't worry about it. Chloe, get off. Get off the painting. I got to stretch it and do all, I don't know what all, but I got to figure it out. I don't know what you do to it. I haven't figured it out yet, but I will. Don't worry about it. How was work?
It was okay.
Busy, busy, busy? That's good. You're home early before it even closed. Yeah. Yay. All right. So the patient was there being treated with chemotherapy. So I know the Z51 goes first. That eliminated A and B. Then I just needed to figure out which code needs to go first. Liver cancer had metastasized to his breast. So we wanted to code the liver first and then the breast cancer second. That's just normal progression of cancer. You always want to code the main code first of where it originated, the cancer, and then any metastasizes you code afterwards. unless they happen to be seeing somebody for the metastasized cancer, like if they were actually seeing a skin doctor or something and was getting the skin cancer removed off the areola or getting a mastectomy because of it, then you would code the METS one first. Hold on, I gotta yell at my kid. What are you watching? I'm recording a song. What are you watching? Arcane. Oh my God, it's the new anime. Is that normal? Yes. It's like superhero. Well, I'm messing up your recording for sure. You have to redo that. All right, just had to make sure he wasn't on YouTube. I heard music playing around. So we'll move on to CPT code. We will look at I had some cool radiology today that was kind of neat. So we will look. My little crane makes so much noise. It's so sad. Come on. Come on, focus. There we go. There we go. So what you notice about these CPT codes? Male patient here for chemotherapy for metastatic cancer of the liver secondary to cancer of the right areola. It says that the patient is here for chemotherapy for metastatic cancer. So his METS cancer was the reason he was here. METS of the liver due to the cancer of the areola. So the cancer of the areola goes second. The METS cancer of the liver goes first. Hopefully that's more explanatory. The patient is here for his metastatic cancer. So his METS are the reason. This is where you code the liver first because that's the METS. And then his originating cancer is the second code. So hopefully that helps. Anyway, back to this one. Yeah, I like the 59 because normally you don't code these same radiology codes together like this without it being like a times one situation or they have pluses in front of them. I don't know. Seems very interesting, but I am leaning towards B being a correct answer if we did need two codes. For sure. We don't have anything. We got the 1 and the 2, and then we've got the 16 and the 16. We got 15 and 5 and 10. They're just all over the place. What is 768? Let's go look up 768 codes. 76801. What is that? 768. That is an ultrasound pregnancy imaging 0 to 14 weeks pregnancy is R01. We'll check the patient's pregnancy gestation. We're at 15 weeks, so we can get rid of O1 right away because we're not at the 0 to 14 weeks. So we can get rid of that one, although I'm trying to erase stuff instead of draw a line through it. So what's the 05? The 05 to the 10 is where my children put pizza on top of my book, and everything's all blurry. So makes it very hard to see what the heck is going on there. That is greater than 14 weeks. For single first gestation, let's see, she's pregnant with twins, so we definitely cannot use that code either. So we'll get rid of our D, right? Sometimes you just have to go methodically through this. Let's go see what's going on with our 15 and 16. Those were super close together. Should have been what we picked anyway for process of elimination. 15 is a quick look. Since she is pregnant with twins, we cannot use 15 at all. That ain't going to do us any good because she has 2 babies. So we do need to do our 16 because they won't just ultrasound 1 baby. They'll ultrasound 2. And we'll definitely need our modifier for that one. B will definitely be our answer. And we should have kept our 15 and 16 since those are the closest together anyway. The 08 or the 05 and the 01 are far apart from each other anyway. But cool one to do. I like doing babies and OB. So I did OB for a while. This one right here is super cool. For process of elimination, I would get rid of C and D, right? They're far away from each other. They're not like the others. I like keeping these codes together because they're the same. The only difference is the 56 and the 55, but also this random 8 code. What is our code, the 99291? Our 99291 99291 is critical care. And one thing I want to tell y'all about critical care is we love critical care because all we normally have to do is look at the time and then use this chart up here to see how much time we code. But there's also a list of codes that you can code with critical care on one page of the CPT book that you can find. Does anybody know where it's at? Do y'all know where it's at? What codes go with this critical care? If you wanted to code a bunch of codes, what could you use? It might be here in all this lovely guideline crap before you code it, but there's also a list here somewhere. Does anybody know the page number? Just curious. Probably people I've tutored before have. They know where the page is. They better anyway. It's way back here on page 57. It may be on 24 too, but I like using this one on 57. Is there one on 24 too? Go look. Could be. This page right here on page 57 has a list of things that are in those 3,000 ranges. So if we look at our answers here, we've got the only 2 left is the 36556 and the 555. Are those listed here? The 555 is here. What about the 556? Could be. I just may be missing it. 556 is not. I don't see it. There's a second page over on 58 too. I don't see it. I don't see the 556. Let's see about that 31500. It's on there. I know that is. Yep, right there. The umbilical trach. And the 555 on there. The 8,000 number is not on there either. So because of that, without even looking at the test question, I know the 5-6 is not on there. And I know the 8,000 isn't on there either. So I can get rid of B, and I know my answer can only be A without looking at the test question. But the patient happened to be in critical care. They did a venous catheter placement, and what else? Endotracheal intubation, and they were in critical care for only 30 minutes. So 30 minutes and 2 things done. Also, the only answer it could have been 3 codes, 30 minutes critical care, intubation, and catheter is another way to look at it. Y'all know I don't like you tabbing books, but if you put one of your tabs that you haven't used, because they're all in the front of the book, maybe your yellow tab, here on your little lovely list at the top part, so it's up at the top, so it's not up in your way, but you could tab that list. That way you know where to find it for all your critical care, stuff like that. It can also be used, by the way, by your inpatient babies right there, and it can also be used for, on page 55, your doctor who runs down to the delivery room, who does CPR on a brand new baby. Those codes can be added to this code too. And then it can also be used for those critical care codes way back here. Where were we at? 291. Good gracious. All the way back here on this critical care codes. You can use all those codes to be added with it. A lot of times you can't add things like EKGs and stuff, but these codes, you can add all of those to it. Super helpful, super cool. Love it, love it. Question. Which page is what? So I'm on page 58 has the list, and 57 has the list. You can use these codes for page 59, inpatient codes right here. You can use those codes on page 55. There's 2 codes here, that pink one at the top and this baby pink one down here at the bottom. You can use those codes there on page 55, and then you can also use those codes right here on page 32 for your critical care services. I hope that's helpful. Yes, yes, yes. I hope that is super, super, super helpful. I want to turn you guys to page 243 of your book. It's in cardiology. There is this lovely paragraph on the second column down here, towards the bottom right here. So page 243, if I haven't told y'all before, this lovely paragraph has a lot of homework for y'all to do. It lists some codes through a range right here, 33206 through 33249. That's like 43 codes. Then it lists a bunch of individual codes. All these codes, including that range, include radiology. They don't say it in the descriptor. Go on and write it at the top of the page. Then you can also go to each code and write 0 rad, or you can write in there also includes radiology, so that you know which codes include radiology, because they ain't gonna tell you that it includes radiology in the description. They told you way over here in this little paragraph over here, and there's quite a few of them to list. So that's a super cool paragraph. It's on 243, and it will help you with your cardiology section scores for sure. So be sure and mark those listed in that lovely paragraph. So 99464 CPR is not being done. No CPR. It wasn't even a listing of our possible answer. CPR is included in critical care. That's what they're doing there in critical care. It's what you would be expecting. The umbilical cord IV on a newborn is unexpected. And an endotracheal trach would be highly specialized. Can you imagine tracheing a brand new newborn? The special equipment you'd need, and then hooking up that umbilical cord IV so you can get direct access to the baby's bloodstream that way instead of having to go through the arm. Yeah, you're not CPR, EKGs, those kind of things are not. Those are all included in critical care for sure. All those, epinephrines and injections and stuff that fly out of the cabinets during the middle of critical emergency care are all included. But there are specialty things that you do get to bill for as of right now. And that little list is what you can do. Absolutely. Well, guys, I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to get out and go hang out with the family. I've got some tutoring to do. I got like 6 hours of tutoring to do tomorrow, and I got to prep for people. I got to remember whose sticky note is whose. Who did I say? I need to write some names down on some sticky notes and prep those for tomorrow. So I got to go back and figure out who is whose sticky note and make sure I prep for some tutoring tomorrow first thing in the morning, and need to go eat some dinner too. So be sure, and I'm hoping this TikTok will record and we will have it and I can post it on to YouTube tomorrow. If I always get nervous and scared to post it or look for the night of, because I'm scared I'm going to jinx myself, so I'll look tomorrow. If you need me, you know where to find me. There is a link in on TikTok that has. Oh no, it's not a smart card. They already make us check out. This email right here, you can email me. I'm not as fast as I am on Messenger, but I do get to my emails. I know I haven't gotten to my emails today. I know somebody told me today to check my emails, so I got to check my emails. There's a link right here to the Etsy store that'll give you 20% off. The store's on 10% off right now, so you can go right there and get coupons off, 30% off of whatever you might need. One of the most helpful things is what has been on the CPC exam in the last 45 days. I updated it last night, full of information that vocabulary, things that direct you in a good way of where to look for possible answers and what's on the exam. Ooh, my sister-in-law is wanting to talk to me. Aww. Do I use P.O. Box or get the mail just at your address? Aw, she's not going to be here for Christmas. Darn it. It'll be her first Christmas in like 5 years she hasn't been here. Darn workforce. On TikTok, takes you to Etsy. The other cool thing is here that is my guidelines. So I have guidelines just like they are in your ICD-10 book on half the page. The other half shows you how to code that guideline. Or, let me get over here. It'll show you a screenshot of what it looks like in the book and then give you an example of how to code it. So this is super helpful even in your career later on. I also go through the guideline and show you what to highlight, what's important. You also have your sequencing. What do you code first? Second, there's a color code for that. It's all there. I have the E&M done too, which is super cool for 2022. but it's good for 2021 book. It's got the CPT code listed with all you need, like comprehensive, the 2 out of 3, the 3 out of 3, but then it's got tips on what to not code with it or how to code, what it would look like, and an example of how you would code it, coding tips, just all kinds of cool stuff beside every code to make sure that you understand this is how you would code it, if there's a guideline attached, if it's facility related or professional service. It's all listed. Plus, I have the top 10. What would you need to know for the ICD10 guidelines? It's listed there too. I'm working on anesthesia now for 2022 with all the examples to be typed out just like that. But the rest of 2021 are there. And as I get done with the 2022 year, I'm taking down the 2021. It's like that. But the rest of 2021 are there. And as I get done with the 2022 year, I'm taking down the 2021. So if you want those, grab those. Come see us on Messenger. Find me at Jen Brewer, and you can be part of our Messenger group for free. Super helpful group. We share tons of information. Oh my gosh, we're always sharing questions, what books we've used. You can get in here and push on that little eye icon at the top. You can go down to media. You can see what pictures I've shared recently, what our books look like. We have practice questions in here. I have my E&M cheat sheet for that. I have sepsis cheat sheet, a cancer cheat sheet, all kinds of stuff in here, even to where to position your camera. If you go to the files tab, we have practice exams here. We have just all kinds of things in here. Oh my gosh. The proctor's instructions, you can even see what the proctor's instructions are. So it'll tell you what they're expected to see in your books. And I've had so many proctors recently just love the fact that the books look like rainbows, that they have all this information in them, and they've been pretty impressed with how it goes. So there's a lot of stuff here that we share, and one lady said 3 of her CPC questions were answered from this one page that she had done, like which part is not in the small intestines. I've seen that question written a bunch of times. Just a ton of helpful information. Y'all really want to learn how to pass the CPC exam, join our little chat group, and you'll get tons of information there. 3 parts of the knee, 3 parts of the shoulder, what are the parts of the humerus bone. We've shared all that kind of information there. Plus, I try to query every night, give y'all practice questions. Last night, what was I doing? I know I gave y'all, there we go. I gave y'all a bunch of questions about anesthesia, give you the rationale. We talk out questions too. Super helpful if you're ready to take your CPC exam. This is where you want to be. If you're brand new and just starting out in medical coding, start out by going to the AAPC website. Oh, look at my sister, my mom's sister. That's Aunt Candy. Anyway, we got all these study groups. Ooh, somebody passed. Love it, love it, love it. AAPC has a lovely Facebook group right here. And you can even check out their files, see what they've shared. You can even check out their photos to see what they've shared. Somebody's got their book tabbed. And then you can also learn about all your questions and answers. You can see all kinds of stuff in there. Ooh, I see some people that I know that I have helped, actually. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Ooh, somebody 80%. But all your beginner questions, are better posed to AAPC. A 93? Oh my goodness. We got a 90 this week. Her name is Jessica too. That's cool. That's awesome. Other people that share their notes on what's going on and how they do it. So that's pretty cool. AAPC is where you should start. I like doing their certification because they give you 2 tries to pass without having to pay again. If you take it in person. If you're going to take it online, they're only going to give you one try now, apparently. They're just trying to change the system on everybody as fast as they can. But I hope this has been helpful. And if there's anything I could do for you, please let me know. And I will see y'all again on Friday night. I will do another live then. Be sure and let me know what you would like to see. Diagnoses, hip picks, cancers, whatever. Let me know and I'll get that prepped for you. And I will see y'all again Friday night at 6:30. Thank you guys. You're welcome, Sarah and Sarah. I got 2 of you now. And Mom, yes. Happy to help. Sanchez, yes. All right, guys. See y'all later.